Once upon a time in Eurovision, there was a country called Ireland. They used to be the darling of Eurovision, never failing to at least place in the top 15. Only one of their entries before 2000 placed outside the top 15. They came third once in 1977, came second 4 times, and of course, they won the contest not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 7 times, 4 of those in the 1990s. They won consecutively in 1992, 1993, and 1994, before one more victory in 1996. But since then, Ireland has struggled, never placing in the top 5 since 1997, and only 3 times since 2000, placing in the top 10, 2000, 2006, and of course, Jedward's 8th place in 2011. But we're going to be looking at the previous decade for Ireland. How this once titan of a country, which is ironic because they're a small country about the size of Latvia, went from a powerhouse to, well, a forgotten country, at least in terms of qualifying. Let's start with 2013, Ryan Dolan with Only Love Survives. 2013, in my opinion, had the most unfair last place in all of Eurovision. Ireland came last for some strange reason with only 5 points, and we in the UK only gave them 1 point. We usually give Ireland at least, 7 points, 6 points at minimum, but just 1. I mean, yes, we didn't give Ireland points in 2007 when they came last, but that was because in 2007 the entry wasn't, good. It was a poor offering. But in 2013, their entry was brilliant. I've listened to it many, many times, and I consider it the most unfair bottom placer in all of Eurovision history. I mean, it came last, and Finland, who sent the song Marry Me to Eurovision, came third to last, and Spain, with their off-key Celtic offering, came second to last. I mean, you could say it was because it was Ireland, which is unfair really, because, any country has a chance at Eurovision. I mean, come on, who finished in the top 10? Well, actually, Malta. Malta came 8th. So, it wasn't an unfair result because, Ireland, UK, no one votes for a sort of nonsense. No, it was because it was a strong year. I mean, Denmark won the contest, Azerbaijan, Ukraine, and Ireland performed last in the grand final. Maybe that was the reason why they came last. Maybe because after all those epic songs, people forgot about Ireland. I mean, we've never come last and performed last. The only other time a country performed last and came last was in 1990, where Finland came joint last with Norway with 3. But yeah, last place for Ireland in Malmo. Let's hope they do better in Malmo next year. And sadly, that would be the last time Ireland made the final until 5 years later. They failed to qualify 4 times in a row, in 2014, 2015, 2016 and 2017. And while the results weren't bad in the semi-finals, they weren't brilliant either. The best they did between those years was technically 2014-2015, where they came 12th each with 35 points, but specifically Brendan Murray because he scored the most with 86 points. And I think he should have qualified that year, but 2018 was the first year I watched the Eurovision and the semi-finals. I watched both the grand final and the semi-finals in 2018 for the first time ever. So after 4 non-qualifications, you would have thought that Ireland would have given up. But remember, the Netherlands, another country which had a sorry record in the 2000s, also missed the final a lot of times, but they missed the final 8 times in a row. If I mention that, tell me, but they qualified for the first time since 2004 and 2013. So they waited a long time, longer than Ireland, right? Longer than the Irish. And, they've been in the contest ever since 2003. They never gave up. And of course, Ireland never gave up either. In 2018, they sent Ryan O'Shaughnessy, the nephew I mentioned earlier of Gary O'Shaughnessy. And for the first time in 5 years, the word Ireland was shouted, and the Irish flag appeared on the qualification board, and Ireland was happy. They were happy. I mean, Ireland got to go to the final. That was such a rare thing. It was like winning the lottery. So how did Ireland do in the final? They had a pretty good chance in the betting odds, didn't they, in Lisbon? They didn't do awfully in the end. They came 16th with 136 points, which, to be fair, is their highest score since 1997, and they had a decent result in the jury and the televote, so nothing bad, nothing to be angry about, but they should have placed higher. Let's face it. So with their qualification and decent result, you would have thought Ireland would send something, top quality. You would have thought they would have sent something like epic or dramatic, something in Irish. But no, in 2019 they went back to generic pop with 22 and Sarah McTurnan. Sadly, she couldn't repeat the success of Ryan O'Shaughnessy. She came dead last in the second semi-final with 16 points. That would have been a lot better, 18 points. She didn't even score 22 points. She scored 16 points. And we in the UK gave her 3 points. And Ireland also gave us the only televote points in the final. Yeah, those 3 points Michael Rice got in the final? Yeah, they were all from Ireland. Thank you, Ireland. After a year break due to the C virus, Ireland sent Leslie Roy again with maps. You would have thought she'd improved, and while she did improve in a sense, she came 16th. It was out of 16 countries in the first semi-final, meaning that once again, Ireland came last with 20 points, which is unfair, really. Had it not been for the nervy vocals and maybe the camera glitch that happened before the performance, Ireland could have done a lot better, but you never know. You never know these things. And then Brooke came 15th again in the semi-finals. I thought she would have qualified because, her confidence was massive on stage and the crowd loved her in Turin. But of course not, because it's Ireland. Hello. And this year, a downgrade from That's Rich. I mean, Wild Youth were great on stage, they were confident, they gave it their all, but eventually, we came to the conclusion that of course they weren't going to qualify. It's a generic song. And while they did better than Brooke, they came 12th with only 10 points. So while they did better in terms of position than Brooke, they still achieved a much lower score. Though they were 27 points away from qualifying, and only Latvia was higher than them in the non-qualifiers. So, not a bad result, but not a good result either. So Ireland is taking part next year, and Malmo, which by the way was the city where Ireland won in 1992, is the host host city in Sweden next year. So let's hope Ireland improve the results for next year, as Sweden is now literally touching them on the shoulder in terms of most wins. So all I can say is good luck, Ireland, for next year, and hopefully you'll have a much better result than the past 4 years. Let's hope you at least qualify. That'd be nice. That'd be really, really nice. Like, subscribe, and support Ireland for next year.